things we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. We are back in the studio, back from vacation, back from all the craziness, and finally get to hear the music again, get to go through the normal stuff. Yeah, it feels good to be back. It's been a minute. I hope everybody is remembers me and comes back because I was gone for a while. But you know what? I needed a break. So I feel like it was a well-needed break. Like I needed to just step back for a minute. And being that it was my birthday, it was a specific time to do something, but it was a perfect time to do it too. So, but there was stuff going on, just nothing crazy as far as MMA and combat sports. So I didn't miss out on a whole lot, but hopefully everybody comes back and watches the show and gets back into the normal routine, because I will be here as usual a couple times a week, maybe even more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. This week is going to be a little bit different as well, as far as the way my everyday life goes, but that's neither here nor there, because as far as the show goes, it'll be here on time, and maybe extra. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find ways to take up my time, because my wife will not be here. She'll be out of town, and we just got back, and then she has to leave again, and then I have to leave for another town. It's ridiculous. These next couple weeks are crazy. Hey mom, thanks for jumping in and saying hi. Thank you for welcoming me back. I am back finally. And I had a good time for my birthday. So I know if you watched the one video I did put up there, oh yeah, and the hat, she pointed out the hat. My daughter got me this hat for my birthday. She had me just, she basically forced me. I didn't want to, because when you customize a hat, it's a little pricey. It's a little pricey. I didn't want her to do that. I didn't even want to do it myself, but I hadn't had the push that I needed to get it done, and she pushed me to do it as a birthday gift, and it took a little bit to get here. I didn't get it in time for Vegas, which was a little bit sad, but at the same time, I did 2 interviews today, and with those interviews, I got to wear it, so I was actually happy about that. And for the first time back, I got it on, so I like it a lot. I think it came out great. It's a new era hat. As you can see, that's what I wear. It's a fitted hat. Maybe I show you the back real quick. Like, look at that. Let's see if it focus. Bam. It's a little bit bright because of the lights, but I did that as the back. And yeah, it's cool because, I always talk about, the GRP. I shorten it up. And I like it as a secondary logo. And obviously, the lettering and stuff, I was not sure how it was going to come out, because I've never done a customized hat. Not this way. Now it's the popped out embroidered, just like any other hat that I wear. And that's my thing, is I want it to kind of be the way the rest of my hats are, and I made it happen. Oh, I thought I was going to sneeze. No. My nose is already running, and I figure it's going to start running again here in a minute, because I will talk about my sponsor and take away for the smelling salts, get myself going. But I just wanted to recap real quick. Yeah, and then point out the hat too, because I thought it was pretty dope. So I appreciate that. My daughter Trent had me do that. And let's see what else. We had a great time in Vegas. It was a little wild in the beginning, and then it calmed down a little bit, and I only had one bad day of hangover, which was the very first full day we were there after the first night, because, of course, we always go hard the first night. I don't know why I do that. It always messes me up. Luckily, I got over it quickly and had no more hangovers for the rest of the time I was there, which was awesome, and we were definitely drinking it up, so I got lucky with that, and now I feel like my hat's all crooked because I took it off. But other than that, had a great time. Won some money in the end to make up for any money that I spent. So I kind of came out even, which is a plus, because a lot of times, you come out with having spent a lot of money I took a set amount of money to kind of gamble with, because get a little carried away sometimes, and that's why I don't gamble a lot. But when I'm in Vegas, it's a little different. But I basically came out damn near even, which is a great thing when it comes to that. When it comes to the staying in a room and food and all that kind of stuff, that's a given. You got to eat, got to have somewhere to stay. And yeah, I might be drinking alcohol, but you got to drink too. So, so that stuff, it's a whole different story. But when it comes to gambling money, I don't want to spend a lot of that, and I don't want to do that a lot. And sometimes I get a little carried away. So I tried not to do that. And I did a good job of it, I think. I was more held back this time than I normally am. But I did win some at the end in order to recoup some of that money I had spent gambling throughout the time I was there. It's like a record for me not gambling a bunch. So it's a good thing, though. We got to experience a bunch of stuff. And just had a good time. I had some friends go with us for the first few days, and that was fun. And then we kind of just relaxed and had a good time and walked around, and it was good. It was good. So shout out to my wife for making it a great trip for me, and my friends that showed up for me as well. And yeah, it was just a good time. So now I'm back, ready to go. I didn't get out as much content as I was hoping to. I think I made like one short and something for TikTok, and I made one video just recapping last weekend stuff quickly. But I got to show off the backdrop from my window of my hotel I was staying at, so that was cool. So if you didn't check that out, you can see that if you'd like. Go back to the last video. Obviously, I wasn't live, but I'm live now. Back to the normal schedule, back to the normal thing. And I'm happy to be back and ready to do it again. As I said, I have this like spot on my tongue that I don't know if I bit it first and then it got irritated, but it bugs the hell out of me when I am talking. So if I sound funny at any point in time, that would be why, because it's really bugging me now. But I did 2 interviews earlier today for Brave CF, 2 fighters that are fighting each other, Mohammed Fakhreddin and Alex. Man, I knew I was gonna do this. Lahore. Okay, that's what it is. I was like, I just forgot his last name because I was trying to remember the other one. But you will see those come out soon on Combat Sports Today. They're the ones that get me the interviews. So I always just they put it out on their channel. I leave it there for a little bit. Maybe a week later, I'll drop it on this channel. So you guys will see those coming up soon. If you want to see them early, you can go to Combat Sports Today. Follow them too. They put out a bunch of fighter interviews as well as all kinds of combat sports news and stuff like that. Follow all their social media. They stay on top of all the breaking news and everything as well. So it's more of a news outlet, and it's good. And I'm happy to be with them, and I collab with them all the time. And we might actually have a show coming out soon, just for one of the shows out of the week. I'm going to collab with one of the guys from CST. We haven't tied down an exact date yet, but we're planning on doing that soon. He has his own YouTube channel doing similar things, but he likes to talk about bets. This will be Mike Talks on YouTube, and I will be, I'll shout it all out and put all the links and all that stuff when we do the collab. But I asked him if he wanted to do a show with me, just to kind of talk it up, because he's doing similar things I am. He's a lot younger guy too, so he he might get a little more traction on certain things, because just for the simple fact that and his face is all over all of it too. He does really well on camera, and he's done a lot of interviews for Combat Sports Today and carries a lot of stuff that he does for that channel. So and now he has his own, and he likes to game and stream with that and all that good stuff too. So I just want to talk to him a little bit about all that and his come up. He's been doing well, and since he's started his channel. So I like talking shop with people that are doing similar things, and that's kind of why I had Combat Sports Today on with Phil, who's the head of Combat Sports Today, and then MMA Fu, who's a big presence there as well. And we talked it up soon after I started doing interviews with them. So I wanted to get Mike in here because he, like I said, he's been going through and doing all the same kind of stuff I've been doing with YouTube and all the social media outlets, and then he has an extra component with the betting. He actually talks about NFL picks. He does a lot of extra stuff, not just combat sports. So that's what's interesting about him, as well as his gaming and all that as well. So I just kind of want to get him on, and we could talk shop a little bit. And he knows a lot about fights, obviously. So just to have somebody in here that can really roll with me on all that would be great. So he's going to jump in with me sometime here in the near future. If not this week, we'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll be back on Thursday as well to make sure we preview this upcoming pay-per-view. We have UFC, I want to say it right. Yeah, it's 321. I was saying 322 earlier, and I don't even know why I'm getting ahead of myself. But UFC 321 is coming up this weekend. I will more than likely, unless something holds me up, I will more than likely be doing a watch party, just a one-man watch party with me. So it'll be a lot of play-by-play, a lot of really in-depth talking about the fights happening at the moment, breaking down what I see, what's coming up, what might be next, all that good stuff, because I'll be here alone. And I like to do those every once in a while. The past few were really fun. And since this card is happening in Abu Dhabi, I believe, why is it that I don't remember exactly? Is it Abu Dhabi? No. Yeah, it is. I think it is 321. What is it? Location. There we go. I just like to make sure it is Abu Dhabi. So it's happening during the day. It'll be on early, and that's why I want to do the fight card. So the main card will start at 11 a.m. You know, I normally just do the main card. So I will be here live when that main card goes live. So don't forget about that as well. I'll talk about it more later on in the week during the second show. Let me give a shout out to my sponsors, Noctane. I feel like I'm rambling, but that's because I'm trying to catch up because we haven't been here for a minute. But, you know, just talk about all the good stuff happening and coming up. But Noctane is always something good to talk about, and that's because they sponsor me. I'm getting pretty, this bottle's getting pretty weak on me, so but I've had it for a minute, and I've used it a hell of a lot. So I am going to have to let my man know, and we're gonna have to get a new one in here soon. Maybe we'll try a different scent, but right now I have the black pepper. They do make all kinds of different scents. This is the most potent bottle with the red cap. Obviously, there's more potencies, lesser potencies. The black cap is mid-range. The white cap is entry level. Start there if you're a little worried. Don't be alarmed by my reaction. Here we go. Hold on. It takes a second because it's wearing out. Oh, there it is. Ooh. And close your eyes. I don't know why I have this bad problem of not keeping my eyes closed. Ooh. That was a lot of black pepper, though. That scent really came out that time. It's been a little off and on, but that time it was there. And oh, I needed that, though. Yeah, so thank you, Noctane, for the sponsorship, of course. Appreciate that. Go get yourself a bottle. There's a link in the description below. There's that QR code on the screen. Use any of those to get yourself to the website and check it out. If you go all the way to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see that it says proudly sponsoring Going Rounds podcast. That's me, obviously. So I appreciate that, Noctane. Thank you for the pick-me-up as always. And yeah, that's about it. We got one thing to talk about before we get into the recap of last night's fights at UFC Vancouver for the fight night. RDR versus Brendan Allen. And we'll get into that now. It's not the most, it's sad news, but it is what it is. So we'll get to that after I take a sip. All right, here we go. Push the right button. Oh, of course. And then the music doesn't play. Oh, there it is. Good. So if you're not sure who this is Duke Rufus of Rufus Sport. He was a great coach for a lot of big name fighters, including Anthony Showtime Pettis, who was a UFC champion, rose to stardom. His little brother, who just won a few weeks back, had a good time celebrating with Duke Rufus. Sergio Pettis, If you remember, when CM Punk fought in the UFC, he was with Rufus Sport for his training and all that, and his coaching. There's been a lot of people. Tyron Woodley was there for a long time. There's been a lot of guys that have come in and out of that gym. But and Brendan Allen was there at one point in time too, who just fought last night. And unfortunately, Duke Rufus, at the age of, I think, 55, he passed away, unfortunately. I mean, he didn't suffer, it sounds like. He passed away in his sleep. And, you know, but it came as a huge surprise to everybody because, you know, a lot of times, yeah, he was just confirming he was 55 years old. But I mean, no one knew that anything was wrong. There was no signs. He just passed away in his sleep. So I don't know that I've really heard yet what the problem was, or how, you know, what caused the death. But, you know, there was just a hit to the MMA world because he was so well known. He was so successful being the coach that he was, and he had so many successful fighters. He's been a big name in the sport for quite a while. So it says he passed away peacefully in his sleep, which means, you know, at least he didn't suffer, and he wasn't suffering, as far as we know. But there's really no updates other than that. And I just wanted to take a minute and talk about it, just because he was such a predominant part of the sport, with all of the fighters that he brought up and brought in and rose to stardom with. And he seemed like a great dude. His coaching style was awesome. And it was just it was just a sad thing to hear about. And there was, you know, there's been a lot of like combat sports deaths in the recent past. You know, I just saw the update on Ricky Hatton, I think it was, that he took his own life, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people thought that was what had happened, but no one was exactly sure, or at least they weren't releasing it, and they just released it I think a day ago, maybe a couple days ago. So yeah, I mean, that's sad. We had other MMA coaches take their own lives as well, and you know, so this one hits because like I said, nobody really knew that anything was going on. He did not take his own life to our knowledge at this point, but you know, he still passed away suddenly out of nowhere, and that's why it came as such a shock. And you know, just the impact he had on the MMA world and the combat sports world is why, you know, it's so significant. Obviously, it's always sad when somebody passes away, especially when it's so sudden and out of the blue. But you know, this one just kind of, yeah. And I followed Showtime Pettis quite a bit. You know, he was on that MTV show back in the day, so I've always followed his story. Got to meet him at the UFC Fan Expo once, and you know, he's just one of those guys that I followed his career for quite a while, him and his brother. And with Tyron Woodley being at Rufus Sport as well, and all the stuff with CM Punk and everyone else that's been in and out of there, you always heard the name Rufus Sport. And you know, I heard a lot of interviews with him and thought he was a really good guy. I liked his mind frame and his mindset. So it just, man, it's just tough. So I just wanted, just like anyone else in the MMA world that I know and followed for a while, not know personally obviously, but know of, I just wanted to give a shout out and a quick you know, remembrance of him. And you know, rest in peace, of course, and condolences to all his family and friends. And I've heard a podcast already today talking about, you know, the passing of him and all that. So it's just sad to hear it all coming from all these people that knew him and we're so close to him. So yeah, had to give him a moment here at the beginning. So yeah, that's it for that. I know it's a rough way to get started, a sad way to get started, but you know, it had to be done. Like I said, he was such a great part of the sport and a great person and coach. So RIP to Duke Rufus on that. So we'll head into UFC Vancouver now and change it up here, because this is the event that happened last night. And as far as everything else goes, you know, there wasn't a ton going on. I touched on the event from last weekend, UFC Rio, where we saw Charles Oliveira get the win over Gamrot, and with Oliveira being such a crazy superstar in Brazil, like watching his celebration was insane, and it was fun to watch. So, you know, there was some other good fights on that card. Davison Figueiredo gets a win. Everyone was counting out, kind of counting him and Oliveira out, and they were the comeback wins from the Brazilians after they went on a few fight losing skid there in the middle of the main card. What up, Tyler? Tyler Fish is back. Hey, thanks for coming back, Tyler. I know I've been gone for a minute, but appreciate you jumping in. So yeah, we had that Mario Pinto crazy knockout too, and then Con Oakley with the submission there. So, you know, I did touch on this a little bit in that video I released last week, just going over those fights. So I just wanted to hit on that real quick again. But here we are, Rainier de Ritter versus Brendan Allen, who stepped in on late notice because Fluffy Hernandez was not able to compete due to an injury. And you know, Brendan Allen coming in late notice against RDR, who's been kind of on a tear, man. He was doing well. I think he was on like a 5-fight win streak or something. And Brendan Allen was able to come in and put on a great show. I think, let's see. Yeah, he was on a 4-fight win streak. But RDR just... yeah, we'll get into that because I have a lot to talk about when it comes to the outcome of that fight. But RDR did lose. Brendan Allen came in on short notice and was able to get the win in Canada, and that was a great win for him. So on that note, we will let's see the rest. As far as the prelims go, the prelims were good. There was only one decision on the prelims. The main card had a few more decisions. A lot of controversy going on in that main card as well, but throughout the card, really, there was just a lot going on. And it was kind of a crazy night of fights as far as all the happenings in Canada. Man, this thing, I have this stupid thing on my tongue, and it's driving me insane right now. I think it's probably because I ate some food before I came in here, and I think I irritated it. Luckily for my interviews earlier today, it was not bugging me. So yeah, be on the lookout for those interviews coming up here soon. You won't have to hear me dealing with this issue right now, but you might not even notice it. But I feel like I'm pausing a lot more, and it keeps irritating the hell out of me. So we're gonna try to push through it. Anyway, let's get started with the prelims. I always like to go over from the bottom to the top. And we had a great women's fight that started off. You know, in the beginning, it wasn't the best of fights in that first round, if I remember correctly. Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa did get to the third round, almost all the way through the entire fight, but it turned up a little more in the second half of the fight. And Melissa Croden started, you know, really putting in some work. As you can see, she got her face bloodied up as well. So Lisboa was able to get some work in there too. But Croden was able to come out with the win, move herself up to 7-2. Yeah, she was able to get the TKO punches from the top position, as you can see in that right hand picture. She was really putting that ground and pound on Lisboa there, and that moves Croden into 1-0 in the UFC, making it a great win for her UFC debut, going up against Tainara Lisboa, who was coming off of a loss to Luana Santos. So now she's down to a 2-fight losing streak, unfortunately, puts her at 2-2 in the UFC. She beat Jessica Rose Clark in her UFC debut, and then beat Ravana Oliveira in her second fight. And now she dropped 2 in a row, so we'll see how she bounces back from those 2 losses, and looking forward to see Croden doing more in the UFC, getting the win, the first win of the night for the Canadians, in the first fight of the night with the women in that bantamweight division. Next up, we had a really fun fight. Yusri Bulgari, I think, against Azamat Bikoev. And the size difference in this was crazy. Like Yusri, I'm gonna say Yusri because Bulgari is messing with me right now. But yeah, Yusri, he's so much bigger than Azamat Bikoev. I couldn't even believe it. Like, he's taller, he's longer, he's bigger. Bikoev looks a lot more, compact and shorter. But Bikoev was talking all kinds of shit about how he didn't feel like Yusri was on his level, and that it might be somewhat of a run-through fight for him. And that got proven wrong. While he did put up a great fight, I will say that, in the beginning of the fight, in the beginning of the first round, he was really putting it on Yusri, and yeah, he was catching him well, but Bulgari wound up turning it around, and they went back and forth quite a bit throughout the fight. Bulgari, though, was using some great jabs and his kicks, and he was keeping that knee coming up the middle for a little while, and then he stopped, and that's kind of when he started getting caught back by Bikoev, and but Bulgari wound up getting the win. He takes it to the third round. The second round he was close. Bikoev did well in parts of the second round, but Bulgari really turned it up in there, and but Bikoev just looks like he wasn't going anywhere, and then he comes out comes out into the third round and looks kind of tired, kind of like he's not all there, not fresh at all, coming in from that 1 minute break. And then he broke about less than a minute in, and Bulgari gets the big TKO win by punches, basically on the feet. And yeah, he just wrecked Bikoev. It was a fun fight to watch, honestly. The back and forth and the damage and the striking that was landed, it was a good fight for the second fight of the night. And Bulgari gets that win, moves him up to 9-3, and that was his UFC debut as well, against Azamat Bikoev, and he comes in with a big win by TKO in the third round. So that brings us over to the second women's fight of the night, and that is Stephanie Luciano versus Ravina Oliveira. Holy shit. Luciano looked good in this fight. Looked good in general, but looked good in this fight. And yeah, I don't know. She's just, this was Brazilian on Brazilian here in the women's strawweight division. And Luciano, it did get to the third round. Halfway through the third round, she's able to lock up this submission that you see in the right hand picture, but and that gave her first submission win of her career. She's never been stopped on the feet or on the ground. She's only had 2 losses by decision. That puts her at 2-1 in the UFC. So she was coming off a loss to Sam Hughes by decision, which was one of those 2 decision losses she's had in her career. And before that, she had beaten Talita Elankar by unanimous decision. Now she beats Ravina Oliveira in the third round, 2 minutes 50 seconds in, gets that rear naked choke that you see in that right hand picture there. After some ground and pound, she was able to lock it up with that submission and beat Oliveira in the third fight of the night. Oliveira is now 0-2 in the UFC. She lost to Tainara Lisboa, who fought in that first fight of this card, by unanimous decision, and then drops this one to Luciano. So that puts her at 0-2 in the UFC. We'll see how she bounces back if she gets another fight. Definitely gonna have to get a win to try to stick around in the UFC in that women's strawweight division. But Luciano is now 2-1, and that was a good win for her. Looking good in that cage too. So next up we had Jordan Santos versus Danny Barlow. Man, I am struggling here. I can't even say regular names right now. Doesn't help that my nose is feeling kind of runny, and I'm just having issues today. But that's all right. It's everything catching up with me. I haven't even been back to work yet. Tomorrow will be my first day back. That'll be interesting. But been a week off of work. I don't do that very often. it's a surprise if I even take one day off of work. So having a full week off is crazy. But yeah, we'll make it through here and talk about Jordan Santos versus Danny Barlow, the first decision of the night for the entire card. In the fourth fight of the night, we get Santos versus Barlow, and Santos did well in this. As you can see, he got busted up as well in that right hand picture. Especially, you can see the swelling under his right eye and some blood. He had a cut. This was a decent fight going back and forth, but Santos is able to get the best of Danny Barlow and gets the win by unanimous decision. Moves into 11-2. Since I didn't go over this fight, I'll take a look at what they did before. He lost to Ozzy Diaz in his last fight. Danny Barlow owes me money. Oh shit. What, did you have a parlay going on, or what happened? Because I was actually, when I saw this fight, I was thinking Danny Barlow had this one as well, but he was a favorite, not by much, but he was the favorite. And Santos is one of those guys, I think, that you don't think much of him, especially when you saw his last fight. I had a fantastic parlay. Oh shit, and he blew it, huh? That sucks. We saw him getting a unanimous decision win in the Contender Series, but he came out against Ozzy Diaz and lost by unanimous decision back in March of this year. And for his second fight in the UFC, Boogaloo took my money as well. Who? What am I missing here? But yeah, Santos looked good in this fight and gets the win over Danny Barlow. That puts him at 1-1 in the UFC. And I'm sorry. I was having trouble saying his name too. That's why I was like, who? Yeah, man, that was a fun fight though. That was a fun fight to watch, and I just went over that one. And Bulgari definitely looked good in that fight against Bikoev. So yeah, unfortunately that one didn't. And I think yeah, it was almost the same kind of underdog play there. So that sucks. The dude that beat the shit out of Bikoev, but he's dope with it. I'm a fan now. Yeah, you should be a fan after that one, because holy shit. I mean, he had some adversity too. Bikoev wasn't a pushover, but he definitely got worked. So Bulgari, yeah, that was a good fight for him and a good showing. And to stop him on the feet like that, it's pretty damn good. But yeah, Danny Barlow drops here to Santos, and that puts him at 2-2. Now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. His last fight was against Sam Patterson, and where he took a L by TKO, and now he gets this one by decision. So that's a nasty picture on that left hand side with that punch just pressing in the mouth of Barlow. Those pictures are nuts. That's kind of why I like to show pictures sometimes, because you get shots like that and it's just like, damn, that's crazy. Obviously the video, it could go one way or the other. It could look even crazier on the video, or it might not look like much until you get this still frame, and then you're like, damn. So yeah, that was that fight. Next up, we had Bruno Silva in a fun fight against Hyun Sung Park. This one got to the third round as well. A lot of these fights in the prelims got to the third round, but then we had finishes in almost all of them, except for that last fight I just spoke about with Danny Barlow and Santos. But Bruno Silva, one of the two Bruno Silvas in UFC, this one at the men's flyweight division, gets a win over Hyun Sung Park by rear naked choke, as you can see in that right hand picture. But you know, he put some good work in on the feet, all around really when it comes down to it, and he was able to get the win. 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the third round, gets his submission win, puts him at 5-4. He was on a 2-fight losing streak, but he had lost to Manel Kopp and Joshua Van, so those were tough losses for him. And I mean, tough opponents. I mean, with those losses, those were both TKO losses for him. And then he turns it around with against Park and gets the submission win that puts Park at 10-2. Now he's on a 2-fight losing streak where he lost his undefeated record to Tatsuro Taira with that submission loss there, and now loses to Bruno Silva by submission as well. So those are his first 2 losses of his career overall as well. He was undefeated and then gets 2 losses by submission. So he might need to work on that submission defense a little bit. But I mean, he was fighting Tatsuro Taira and now Bruno Silva. I mean, those guys, They know what's up. I mean, Bruno Silva has how many submission wins? 5. So I mean, he has a few submission wins, but has only lost by one time by submission as well. So yeah, a couple hard opponents for Park, and he loses by submission on both of them. So we'll see how he bounces back if he's able to turn it around and get a dub in that next one. Bruno Silva had crazy back knee. You know, I think I remember that from Silva. I think that's a thing with him, but I'm not sure. You never know what that means, you know, because we all know what back knee means when it comes to athletes a lot of times. But he looks like he doesn't look like he's, yeah, I don't know. Bruno Silva back stink. Oh man, too. Usually it's Tyler coming up with those kinds of things. But yeah, that was a fun fight with the submission finish there. Next we had the exciting ones for sure, and that was another fucking name that's tough to say. But the what the fuck is his nickname again? Arquilang, the Mongolian murderer. Man, he lived up to that fucking name with this fight. Coming in with I mean, it was what, seconds, 21 seconds in the first round with that straight right that knocked down Cody Gibson and was able to finish him on the ground. It was a nasty right hand. I mean, it was impressive too. The sound that shit, Richie Lang. I guess that's one way to say it, yeah. But yeah, he got that quick finish over Cody Gibson. 21-12 is Cody Gibson's record, but fucking 26-12 is what Lang's record is too, which is crazy. These guys got tons of fights, but Cody Gibson's 3-7 now in the UFC. That puts him down at 2 losses in a row. Last one was against Damone Blackshear with that submission by Kimura, and now he takes a TKO loss 21 seconds, and that's got to be rough to jump into the fight and 21 seconds into it be done and getting TKO'd. He looked like he was fine right away after the fight, you know, good sportsman and all that, but the Mongolian murderer gets the performance of the night bonus on that one. And that brings us over to Drew Dober versus Kyle Prepelic, which also gave us the fight of the night. So both these guys got a bonus for this fight, and it got to the third round as well. A minute and 16 seconds in, Drew Dober's able to get the TKO win by punches, knees, and elbows, just putting together all kinds of offense and getting the best of Prepelic in his home country, not allowing the Canadians to get too many wins. Before this, there had only been one other Canadian that fought and got a win there. So Prepelic could have gotten the second win for the Canadians on this card. Instead, Drew Dober gets the best of him, and Dober still got beat up like always. He takes shots, he opens up quickly and starts bleeding, but he was able to get the best of Prepelic in the third round, and they get the fight of the night bonus on this one. So let me see, where is this? This is one of those that sounds like it's louder. Dober can still close it out. Yeah, I know. That's the thing with Dober. No matter how beat up he gets, he can still get the win. It's almost like he needs to get hit. He's one of those guys that needs to get hit before things happen for him. But he's got so many performance bonuses. Drew Dober thought Prepelic was black in the third round. I'm gonna have to try to remember that one, because I don't remember that off the top of my head, but I'm sure I'll remember after and be like, oh fuck, that's what he was talking about. But yeah, Dober has all kinds of performance bonuses. I mean, holy shit, spanning all the way to 2018, he hasn't gone more than 2 fights without getting a performance of the night or fight of the night bonus. So this makes it his second one in 3 fights. He lost to Manuel Torres in his last fight by TKO. He lost to Jean Silva, but he got a fight of the night on that one. He was on a 3-fight losing streak before this, because then he also lost to Renato Moicano. But those are some tough ass opponents, and then to be able to still get the fight of the night bonus with Jean Silva is insane. Ricky Glenn was his last win back in 2023, where he got a performance bonus there. Shit, you can just keep going. There's so many ribbons on Tapology for him with the amount of bonuses that he's gotten. So good for him on breaking that 3-fight losing streak. And then Prepelic is now on a 2-fight losing streak, because he lost to Benoit Saint Denis in his last fight by submission every time Dober fights. Oh, I'm glad I didn't continue reading that one, but I got you, Tyler. Oh my god. Oh man. So yeah, Benoit Saint Denis. Tyler smells like wild caught salmon. Here we go. Hey, listen, I miss this, man. The chat, the chat's always hilarious. You guys keep me on my feet, and it's fucking funny. So I did that one video last week that I released, and not having any chat was like, damn, this is weird, not being live and not having chat, because there's always going to be something that makes me laugh. So Prepelic is now 0-4 in the fucking UFC. That's insane, because he was in the UFC previously, and he lost 2 fights there. Prepelic gets cut moving forward. Oh, no doubt. Yeah, especially now. I mean, I don't see him doing much else. And cut Barlow too. Shit. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say that I've seen Barlow do anything that's worth keeping him around for. Let him go get some more fights outside of the UFC and come back. But yeah, next up we had Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola, and this is where things really got controversial. Like, what the fuck was happening here? Okay, because obviously the fight was good. The first round was crazy. Okay, we got Kyle Nelson just beating the shit out of Matt Frivola, and gets to the point where near the end of the first round, he's got him down on the ground and pounding him out, and basically looks like he's about to get a finish. But with 3 seconds left on the clock, fucking Dan Mergliata, or whatever the fuck his name is, looks like he's calling the fight, but he just stops the fight, and then acts like he fucking had no idea and just thought it was the end of the round, and then treats it as the end of the round. But there's clearly 3 seconds left on the clock. So Tua says Kyle Nelson earned 2 wins, round 1 TKO and a decision. Yeah, that's basically what happened, because this was a unanimous decision win for Kyle Nelson. But he fought 2 extra rounds he shouldn't have had to fight, which was crazy. Dan Mergliata has down. Oh shit. I've seen a couple pictures that might prove that, but I don't know. Honestly, I liked Dan Mergliata in the beginning when I first started seeing him around and reffing fights, but he quickly turned that to shit, and it sucks. Mergliata has too much. He has something. It might just be stupidity. I don't know. It's not an easy job, and I understand that, but how have you reffed this many fucking fights and stopped a fight like that and not called it the end of a fight? Because he could have easily called that the end of the fight. Like, don't make that mistake. I had Nelson round 2 TKO on my parlay. Oh, well, you would have lost either way, because Nelson couldn't come back and get him back to that point where he was about to TKO him. So I don't know. It was so stupid, man. Like, what the fuck was happening? Why would you do that? Like, he could have easily covered it up and been like, yeah, fight's done. Been done with it, you know, just call it a day. No one probably would have, I mean, maybe Frivola and his team might have argued that a little bit, but everyone watching would have been like, yeah, that was over. And instead he did all this other crazy stupid shit, and it winds up going 2 more rounds when it could have been an easy first round finish and be done with that fight. So I don't know what the fucking deal was with that, but yeah, I think Mergliata had an issue in another fight as well. I just don't remember which one, but either way, he sucks. And it sucks to say that. I wish I didn't have to be that way against the refs, but when you make a decision that's so fucking stupid and then you don't easily fix it like he could have just left it at, I called the fight, it was over. 3 seconds. We've seen it being called at like half a second left. So why not? I don't know. He could have saved himself a headache. And maybe won some people some money. But anyway, Kyle Nelson still gets the unanimous decision win. It was a good win for him too. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't happy having to fight 2 more rounds, but he was coming off a loss to Steve Garcia by TKO. So back in the win column for him. He's 5-5 in the UFC now. Matt Frevola is one of those guys that just up and down all the time. This puts him at a 3-fight losing streak. But he lost to Faraz Zahim and Benoit Saint Denis before this. He had a great fight against Drew Dober where he got a performance of the night bonus. He was on a 3-fight win streak before that 3-fight losing streak. So he's just such a streaky fighter, but he just can't seem to put together enough wins to do something. He now has a losing record in the UFC at 5-6. So I don't know. They might keep Frevola around just because he's one of those guys that puts on fights that are interesting to watch. But I don't know if he's ever going to be a contender. It's tough. It's tough for him. But next up, we had a great fight with Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. Jourdain and those fucking knees are insane. And he was able to come in and after his brother just won on the Contender Series a few weeks ago, Herb Dean, Murgliata, and the Holland ref should all get sent to ref the PFL. I mean, I think that's what I was thinking about was the ref for Holland, the Holland fight, which was that was Herzog, Jason Herzog, I believe. That one's a little bit tricky. We'll get to that one here in a minute, but that one's a little bit more tricky than the Murgliata one. I still don't agree completely with his decision on that. I think it was kind of stupid. But yeah, this Jourdain fight was dope. That knee was so sick, man. That's why he's Charles Air Jourdain. He gets a performance of the night bonus with this TKO win in the first round. There you go, too. It just said it too, Air Jourdain. I mean, his record's 8-7, but he is now on a 2-fight win streak with 2 performance of the night bonuses in both those fights. His last fight was against Victor Henry back in November of last year, where he got a submission win by guillotine, and now he gets his first round TKO win over Davy Grant with the I'm sorry, another submission win. What the hell am I saying? I'm thinking of the knee, you know. I'm thinking of the knee, not even I read TKO somewhere else, but yeah, he got the guillotine. I'm sorry, it's right there in that picture too. He did turn that guillotine over and finish it on top, but it was a good one. Obviously, Davy Grant was he was shook by that knee, and that was such a great flying knee. As you can see in that picture, the impact was crazy, and the fact that Grant didn't go out completely off of that, give him credit for that one. But you know, he gets stuck in the guillotine, and Jourdain wins in fashion after that knee and that locking up that submission, and gets a performance of the night bonus, and that puts him on a 2-fight win streak with 2 bonuses in both those fights. And that puts Davy Grant down in the losing column. He had a 2-fight win streak going. 2 unanimous decision wins though in those fights against Damone Blackshear and Ramon Tavares. So back to the drawing board for him. He's now 8-7 in the UFC. This is one of those cards where everyone has a weird record. Like they're either at 500 or less. It's just one of those weird fucking fight cards with the Canadian, you know, trying to get the Canadians in here for the home crowd, but they didn't do so well. And that is we'll see that here with this Jasmine Jasdavicius versus Manon Fiorot. Jasmine was on a roll, man. I can't believe that she let that slide through her fingers, because she was on a 5-fight win streak with wins over 3 of those wins having performance of the night bonuses. 3 out of the 5. Manon was on my parlay. Oh well, that was a good pick, except it was busted by this time. Which sucks. Believe me, I feel you. That's why I don't bet that much anymore. But man, Jasdavicius had that win against Jessica Andrade by a rear naked choke in their last fight. Beat Mayra Bueno Silva, Ariana Lipski, Fatima Klein, and then the Lipski fight had a performance bonus too. Priscilla Cachueta, she beat and had a performance there. She hasn't lost since the Tracy Cortez fight back in 2023. And that was by unanimous decision. So she had a 5-fight win streak with great opponents being named throughout that record. But then she comes up against Manon Fiorot, who was coming off a loss, hungry to get another win. She had that loss in the Valentina Shevchenko title fight back in May of this year, lost by unanimous decision. Shevchenko's a beast, obviously. Manon's nickname is the Beast, I believe. And she looked like the Beast in this one. Catches Jasmine Jasudavicius with that big punch that made her do the stanky leg, basically. We've seen a bunch of TKOs like that. And Jasmine argued the stoppage, but she wasn't completely out after that punch, but she got dropped after, waddling around on funky legs. And Manon followed it up, got her to the ground, and started with the ground and pound. And I mean, I'll give the ref this on this one. When she looked like she was going limp because her head went down and her upper body crashed into the mat after trying to hold it up and defend. It looked like she went limp for a second. Might have been just a flash KO, but she definitely was done. And she argued the call at the end, but I mean, I feel like it was a good call. So that was a good win by Manon Fiorot, coming back off the loss in the title fight. Jasmine was looking like she was on her way to becoming a contender. That's why she probably got this fight against Manon, but obviously she couldn't handle that big right hand of Manon Fiorot. And then she dropped the fight. And I mean, it's a tough loss for her, but we'll see how she bounces back. I mean, that was the worst jelly legs I've seen in a while. I hadn't seen, let's see, when was the last time we saw somebody do that? I can't think off the top of my head, but there's been plenty of fights we've seen where people get the stanky leg going, and that was definitely one of those times. She's gonna be in one of those compilation videos one of these days. But yeah, tough loss for her on that one. Manon Fiorot with the big win. And that was your second fight on the main card. Next up, we had another crazy fight, somewhat controversial as far as the outcome goes, because we had a split decision fight here with Amin Zahabi and Chito Vera. And I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that Chito Vera won that fight. I watched it somewhat when it was on live. I was trying to get a lot of stuff done around the house and other things I had to do since I had been gone for a while. So I was watching it on my phone and was kind of in and out, but I knew it was a pretty decent fight. I felt like it was a good fight to watch. Honestly, you really had to watch it close. That first round, I think, was the decisive round, and it could have honestly gone either way. It really could have. Chito seemed to have dislocated or broke his finger in that first round. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. Not a robbery, just a close fight. No, I 100% agree with that, Tyler, because that first round was the decisive one, and it wasn't very decisive. It was close. So no robbery for sure. It was just a tough fight to judge, man, because that first round was so close. Chito turned it up a little bit and was doing well, but I think that the thing with his finger, he wasn't sure what was happening. And I think he got a handle on it in between rounds after the first round, because the second round he dropped Amin Zahabi hard too, and it was crazy. I thought for sure he was going to be able to finish that, but Chito wasn't able to get it done. Amin Zahabi survived. The second round was 100% Chito's round, even though at the end of the second round, Amin Zahabi turned it up again and fucking really came back hard on Chito after he wasn't able to finish him. So I don't know why Chito let him kind of hang there for a minute and recover, because I feel like if he would have jumped on him and maybe not emptied the tank, but emptied the tank, I feel like he could have definitely gotten that win. But this is tough for Chito. Wyatt did a video of Joe Rogan reacting to two girls. I have no idea, because that's old as shit, Tyler. Oh my god. But yeah, for Cheeto, this is tough. I mean, he's had tough opponents, but since he lost that title fight to Sean O'Malley, he then lost to Davison Figueiredo by unanimous decision, and now he loses to Amin Zahabi by split decision. So he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Cheeto's got to find something that's going to turn it around for him. Maybe he needs a fight with a lower level opponent just to get his bearings back. I know we don't do that much in MMA, but it might be called for at this point, because I'm sure the UFC doesn't want to let him go right at this moment. I don't. Oh man, to cut Cheeto. I had Vera on my parlay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they should cut him, honestly. I feel like he has plenty left. He just needs to get out of this slump. I think losing to Sean O'Malley after, he beat him that first time and he was so high on himself, I think he needs to get healthy and just make sure he doesn't have anything major happening with him before he walks into the next fight. Get that finger taken care of, and I don't know, just work on some things. He's just unless this is it. I mean, he's at that point now. Give Cheeto David Martinez. If he loses, then he's got to go, unfortunately. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Tyler. I don't think he should be cut yet, but yeah, that doing something like that. Yeah, if he loses to somebody like David Martinez is kind of a beast though, but still lower level for sure. So yeah, it's a way to give him somebody who's not a walkthrough opponent, but still somebody that is lower level, gives him a chance. And yeah, if he loses that one, it might be time. Maybe he needs to goddamn Tua. Maybe he needs to grow his hair back. He needs to still a step down, but still a ranked guy. Yeah. He needs to remember when he's in the cage, he doesn't have his gun, right? Because that's what he likes to talk about lately in videos, is showing it off and talking about it and whatever. But he's such a great fighter, man, especially that lead up. He lost to Sandhagen, but he was on a good win streak. He needs to stop looking like Scraggly the hobo. What's weird is I was about to say maybe he needs to grow his hair back out because Cheeto looks like Justin Bieber. Yeah, that's funny because you would never think that, but I understand what you're saying with that, even if you're just joking. It's weird. But yeah, I think Cheeto needs to grow his hair back out a little bit and get back to the old Cheeto. And but he always had it different, always. So I mean, who knows what he needs to do, but he needs to find his way back to winning, and before he does get cut. And I don't think that would fare well for him if he gets cut from the UFC. I just don't see them cutting him easily off of something like this. Amin Zahabi is obviously on a tear right now. I think that puts him. Cheeto should remove all his tattoos. He just doesn't have enough output. It's bad. Yeah. Amin Zahabi is now on a 7-fight win streak. Let's see, he beat Ricky Tercios, not a big deal. The Mongolian Murderer, he beat him. That's a good one. Javid Basharat, okay. Pedro Munoz, okay. Jose Aldo, that was a tough fight for him too. That's the weird thing. Amin seems to have trouble in every fight. Like he got dropped here in the second round. And then, Cheeto couldn't close it out. And I feel like that was his biggest mistake because, it's almost like he did empty the tank without having emptied the tank, because he just didn't come back and get Amin back in the same positions that he had him in when he dropped him. Of course, he's still landing shots and still putting work in, but not in the way he was in that second round for the third. And that's what cost him the fight. So I definitely think Cheeto needs to just lock in and start focusing again, figure out what he's doing wrong, and get back to winning. I think Amin Zahabi is Charles Jourdain. They look alike. They kind of do. I can see that as well. What I've noticed from his last two fights is that when he gets dropped, he literally sprints around the cage until he recovers. Yeah, it's probably a good defense. That might be why nobody can, or that might be why Cheeto couldn't finish him. He didn't want to gas out in the way of trying to Amin Zahabi should focus on getting cut. What the hell? Maybe Cheeto didn't want to get gassed in that way while chasing him around, because you start throwing stupid punches, chasing somebody, and then yeah, you get gassed out. So it was a tough fight for Cheeto, man, but especially after dropping Zahabi like that in the second round. Fucking tough. But Zahabi's looking good with the 7-fight win streak now. We'll see what they give him next, and we'll see what happens with Ariel Helwani. Just defeated Cheeto. Oh yeah, that's who everybody says he looks like for sure, is Ariel, which is crazy. I can see it a little bit, but maybe a cross between Charles Jourdain and Ariel. Next up, we had that fight we were talking about a minute ago, Mike Malott versus Kevin Holland. And this was a fucking weird fight too, man. Mike Malott with the knees up the middle, the kicks up the middle, that he catches Kevin Holland in the nuts once. Holland takes about a minute and then is fine. Holland was milking it. See, that's what I wanted to talk about too, because here's the thing. We've kind of seen that from Holland before, right? I like Kevin Holland. He has a big mouth. He doesn't shut up. He's gotten a little better with that. But Holland was in your parlay too. So yeah, so you would have dropped it either way. That sucks. But I mean, I think, but Holland's one of those guys, like, as soon as something happens to him that frustrates him, the fight is over. It's what I say every time Holland fights. And he fights fucking so often. And I know he's one of those guys that's just fighting for the money. He's said it over and over again. So I feel like as soon as he finds a way out, he's just like, you know what? I'm getting a paycheck regardless, and I'm not going to put up with this shit. Which is weird. It's really weird because he has talent. I just don't know how far that's going to get him, because we always see something like this happen. Like when he got hit in the rib against, who the fuck was it? Imavov, right? Who was it? Dolidze? I always do that. Imavov, Dolidze. I don't know why I mixed those two up, but Dolidze, he got that rib injury. And it didn't even look like any, but you know, a rib injury, it is what it is. That's tough to deal with. Holland did that, so if he wins, then it's comeback underdog performance, and if he loses, then he can blame it on the low blow. That's a damn good point, Tyler. I didn't really even think of it that way. But it does seem like there has to be drama when it comes to Kevin Holland. He's big drama show. That's what he likes. Whether it's him stopping a fucking criminal in the streets right before a fight, or you know, something happening in the cage where either he has to be the comeback underdog guy, like you were saying, or he can blame it on a low blow. Tua. That shit's funny. But yeah, it's one of those things with Holland. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And and there's the agreement. But Mike Malott, I mean, I don't understand why he kept throwing those shots up the middle, even after the second time. But why didn't the ref take a point? I think I heard him say at one point in time, like, if you keep doing that, I'm going to have to think about taking a point. It's like, what the fuck? What do you mean think about it? You should have taken the point after the first one. Fighter potential to be so good. Yeah, I mean, but it's the thing with Kevin Holland. You don't know who oh yeah, it's Dan Mergliotta again. So that was the fight I was thinking of. Maybe I don't know why I thought it was Herzog that was doing that. No, Herzog was in the main event. That's why. All right, that makes more sense. So Mergliotta did that shit too with Holland. It's just stupid, man. I don't understand. First of all, how do you let it get there it is again. How do you let it get to the point where the 5 minutes are up for Holland and he's still asking him if he's okay? He's still asking him if he's ready to go. No. The fucking 5 minutes are up. You took the whole 5 minutes, which is great. I always say, why don't people take fucking the time that they can? Like, sure, your opponent's recovering too, but if he was on a roll, then he's also cooling off. So it could work in your to your advantage by some points, and in other points it might kind of suck. Might give them time to recover too if they were anywhere near injured, so, or gassed. So I mean, I still feel like you should take the time. If you're down, there is not moving up. That's why Mergliotta only goes down. What? So yeah, and I don't understand why he's I just saw the second Tyler. This is so funny because my friend kept saying that on my trip. Oh shit. All right. Ooh, I should have put that picture up in the picture of Mergliata that does look like anyway, Kevin Holland, he took the 5 minutes, that's fine. Mergliata should have said, "Oh, you're not ready to go? You're not good to go? Okay, then we're done. Like, fight's over." Instead, he's out there having the doctor check him again. How's the doctor gonna check and know anything from Kevin Holland saying my balls hurt and they feel like they're in my stomach, or I feel like my nut is in my throat? You know, because that's probably what he was feeling, if he was truly feeling anything. That's the thing. And Kevin Holland, you never know, because again, that rib injury, he's just like just doing that, and then next thing you know, the fight's over, he just can't go. And it's like, okay, I get it, it's a rib injury, that sucks. It's gonna suck to make that worse too, and there's a lot of dangers to that. I get it. And also with your balls, man, you get hit in the nuts and it's gonna hurt. And when it feels like it's up in your stomach or all the way up in your chest, and that's how bad it feels, you never feel like you can do anything right until that feeling goes away. It's like a constant cramp and it sucks. But you know, you take 5 minutes. If you can't continue, don't continue. Don't sit there and fucking play around. So then he continues on, and then he takes forever to get up and get into the next round. He had a minute left when he took those 5 minutes, when the foul happened. No points were taken. Mergliata gave him more than 5 minutes. He comes back, gives him more than a minute through the in-between rounds with getting the doctor in and asking him again and all this other shit. And then we just wind up going to a unanimous decision win, and we see Mike Malott trying to do his best to get Holland out of there, and Holland just being annoyingly hard to finish. So even though he's injured supposedly and all this other shit, so typical Kevin Holland fight. It's annoying. I kind of hate it, and he's starting to lose me in respecting any of his fights. He fights a lot though, so it's hard to stay away from knowing or watching any of his fights. So that brings us to the main event, and yet again, more controversy, for the simple fact of what the fuck was RDR doing. And that is Rainier Dick Quitter. And that's everything that's going around right now. People talking mad shit about RDR. But here's the thing. He brought it on himself, and I hate to say that, but because he has a late notice opponent, for one, which he should have been ready to go, Reindeer. He should have been more than ready to go, considering he had a full camp. Brendan Allen comes in short notice. There was no weight issues as far as I know. And we get to, the end of the fourth round. RDR is not looking great. He hasn't really done anything. Nothing that we saw him do against his previous opponents. Reindeer is too handsome to be quitting like that. I don't know, man. He looked like kind of a, I don't want to say that. He looked like a little baby crying, honestly. And I get it if you're gassed, but being at that level, we've seen him kind of get gassed before, but like not like that. That dork let Brendan Allen win. Now we have to listen to Allen talk shit for the next year. Now he's got his rolling now. Did you see that? He looked like Anthony Smith on the bottom for 3. Oh, that's a good point. He definitely did look like Anthony Smith, and I hope that's not the fucking path he's about to take, because when these guys hit that mark, we've seen it before, Anthony Smith even, but yeah, you get to that point and it's like, oh fuck, man, let's not have this happen and continue to happen. But yeah, Brendan Allen got a gift from somebody, a Rolex, and oh, the knee. What's a good picture? The middle one, the knee on the face, that shit. Yeah. But either way, I mean, he just got outworked. Yeah, the middle one, that's what I thought. And yeah, he got handled, and he couldn't hang. He got gassed after everything he's done, after making Bo Nickel look like a fucking you know, an amateur, and then getting the win over Robert Whittaker, which nobody thought, you know, not nobody thought, but I mean, which I thought he wasn't going to be able to win the way he did. When he's good, big brothered by Allen and carried around, I knew it was 100% done. Yeah, it was just, oh God. After everything he's done in the UFC, I mean, he didn't look that great. You know, he hasn't looked that great until Bo Nickel. He got the one against GM3, Kevin Holland, which whatever. And then he gets the Bo Nickel win, and everyone's high on him, thinking, oh shit, he stopped Bo Nickel. Or else they're just calling fraud check on Bo Nickel. That's a move I used to do to my brother, embarrassing for RDR. Yeah. And then he beats Robert Whittaker, you know, former champion. Yes, sure, Robert Whittaker hasn't been the same since or whatever, but for, you know, for him to do all that and then come in against Brendan Allen, like, what would Fluffy have done to him? I don't know. Does he need the higher level opponent? You know what I mean? RDR grappling approach is more taxing on the gas tank than Roofies. Yeah. Roofie was leg riding and never took Allen's back. Okay, that makes more sense. Now I understand what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, Brendan Allen's last fight was against Marvin Vettori, where they settled their beef after fighting in the casino room or whatever the fuck, wherever they were. And before that, though, he was on a 2-fight losing streak where he lost to Fluffy Hernandez and Nasruddin Imavov. And he lost in a grappling match against Kyle Brahalio. So, but he got a fight of the night bonus against Vettori. That was July of this year, and now he gets the win over RDR in the main event of UFC Vancouver. And yeah, the Ritter fucking quits on the stool, man. That's what's crazy. I mean, I know his corner kind of threw the towel in too. People forget, man. Allen said his brother was there, unlike Vettori after the fight. Fluffy would have destroyed RDR. Yeah, and that's what I kept saying was I felt like if Imavov wasn't gonna get the title against Chimaev, or the title fight against Chimaev, it was gonna be because Fluffy gets a huge win against RDR in this fight, and I was waiting for that because the way Fluffy has been fighting, I thought for sure Vettori's brother passed shortly before their fight. Oh yeah. That's right. I know what you're saying now. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so Fluffy, that's what I was thinking. Fluffy's definitely gonna be get a big win over RDR and make a statement. But Fluffy gets a lot of decision wins as well, so I wasn't sure. I'm like, if he can get the big win against RDR, he's definitely gonna have that title. And then he got injured, so he lost out on that one, because if RDR would have showed up like this against Fluffy, he would have gotten destroyed for sure, like Tyler said. So that's a great point there, and that's exactly what I was thinking. So RDR's got to get back to that drawing board. We'll see what happens with him. Maybe he burned himself out with the greatness in one championship, becoming a 2-division champion and all that. I heard a lot about him when he was over there. I just haven't seen that level of any of it coming into the UFC. Yeah, the fight against Bo Nickel and Robert Whittaker were good. Just don't know. I think it would have looked like the Elite fight. Okay. Yeah, I just don't know that he has what it takes to get back to that level. So we'll see what happens with RDR. But Brendan Allen gets the big win in the main event and shows out for Canada. And gets a fucking rollie out of it because one of his friends apparently bet on him and won big. So that's that. But I think you make Strickland versus Fluffy, then Allen versus DDP, then MVP versus Izzy, RDR versus Dolidze. MVP versus Izzy. I don't think that's gonna happen. They're boys. I don't think they're gonna fight each other. Maybe switch out MVP and Allen, Fluffy and DDP. No, that's still the Izzy's the odd man out there. That one's tough to add into that equation because he's kind of fought DDP and Strickland already. He won't fight MVP. So maybe Allen. Tua. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. Those are some interesting picks there. But yeah, there's a little bit problem with some of those, but I don't know. I'd have to wrap my head around them a little bit. Maybe Fluffy versus Allen. See how that goes. No, he already lost to him. What am I saying? Yeah, there's a lot to think about there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what's next for them. But that does it for UFC Vancouver, and that does it for us here tonight, because that's all we really had to talk about. There wasn't a whole lot else going on that I thought was really necessary to speak about today. I'll be back. Imavov gets Chimaev until Fluffy heals up. That's probably going to be what happens, honestly. Cut Izzy if he doesn't want to fight. He's already lost 3 in a row. They won't cut Izzy that quick, but I understand what you're saying. Fluffy lost an opportunity to beat up. He definitely did. He lost out big on that one. So, but yeah, I mean, back to the normal grind here. I'm back to everything being normal again. We'll see what happens with San Izzy. We'll see what happens with Combat Sports Today and Mike from Mike Talks. We'll see if he jumps in this week. If not this week, he'll be coming in soon. So we'll have that collab coming up here. Like I said, I got 2 interviews that I did today that should be coming out soon on Combat Sports Today as well. They're the ones I collab with that get me the fighter interviews and all the interviews that I've ever done. So be on the lookout on this channel here. In about a week or so, I'll release them here. I like to let them live on Combat Sports Today for a little bit, just because they set up the interviews and I just collab with them and do the interview. So I like to let it live over there for a little bit, and then I bring it over to my channel and release it here. So go follow Combat Sports Today if you want to stay up to date with all kinds of stuff. Combat Sports, they cover everything from Muay Thai to boxing to everything, and then yeah, and all the interviews. They do a lot of fighter interviews. So yeah, you can go check that out, and then or just wait until it drops here. So yeah, that's it for me. Countdown just dropped for 321. Sweet. I'm gonna have to check that out. Appreciate that info. That's it for me though, Tyler. Peace. Appreciate you for jumping in. Tua, as always, thanks for the entertainment. Thanks for the good points on everything from you guys. Anybody else that was in here in the chat, appreciate everybody here for the support. Thanks for coming back after my little hiatus. Back to normal schedule here, and I'll be releasing some more stuff coming up. So make sure you hit that like button below. If you're here now or watching this later, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell as well. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.